There's a bug in my helmet. Is that a bug in your helmet, or are you just happy to see me? What is up, YouTube? Off to play IT Hero. Not for any particular reason. Got some family that has no working internet at the moment. For some reason turned to forums and Windows assistance before me. So we'll go get them patched up. Not a fantastic day for a ride. Yesterday was like 95. Also not a fantastic day for a ride in my opinion. It's also a yard work day for me, so no chance of that. And Mrs. Shinyside has been on the MSF range both days. Yesterday on a 250 Nighthawk that was not pleased with the heat. And today, unfortunately, I think she's getting rained on right now. Oh, wow, we don't patch roads for shit. Always doing my head check. 35 miles an hour, I'm still doing a head check. Never trust your mirrors. So Mrs. Shinyside, I think she beat the box. She texted me that she made that jelly bean her bitch. I don't know how autocorrect would pull anything else out of that, and I'm not aware of a jelly bean test for the MSF. If anybody knows of the jelly bean test, I'd love to see it. Like a somewhat out of round circle test. I think she beat the box though. She was sweating it. We tried to do the box in our driveway on Simon the Scoot Scoot. And despite Simon's many failings, she did well at that. Alright, let's see if we can lock the throttle properly here. Nope, it's creeping. Yeah, it's not the greatest. We can get it in a range though. Yeah, so box in the driveway. Our driveway does not fit the specs required. The box is fairly large, and there's no way I could do it in that space with my skills on this. I suppose it's possible. I wouldn't guarantee it though. And the 360, it was a little tight. But for Simon, it was a breeze with like his 2-foot wheel. What do they call that? Wheelbase? Yeah. Wheelbase. Wheel length? No. Brain is off. It's a Sunday. I kicked some ass yesterday. Yard work, housework, whatnot. It was kind of smart. I did the yard work in the early part of the day and the housework in the later part of the day. Still hot as balls. Balls! So I've got some bubbly waiting on Mrs. Shinyside to get home. She gets done at noon, so the bubbly might wait a little while after that. But I think she's going to ace it. She's got about 1,000 miles under her belt, and we practiced just the week prior, just to give that confidence, right? It's a little stressful to do it live with people. Oh my god, light's been green for like 4 seconds. That's why you work on your slow ride skills, because reaction times for people in cages are generally terrible. It's a mindset though. They're all super relaxy mode and you're not. And you shouldn't be. There are some relaxy mode riders. Generally they're just calm enough in their mannerisms on the road that it's alright. That's not me. Nor do I want it to be. Still digging the new gear. Not keen on putting a new helmet over a freshly shaved face though. This is still snug enough that it's probably going to give me some, not really rash, but irritation. Which is alright. But Mrs. Shinyside's breaking in a little faster than mine, which is cool. I did send her with her old helmet for the range. But the cheek pad's starting to form, which is cool. So I'll tough it out. Other than that, the helmet's great. It's not terribly noisy. Fits very well, other than being a little snug, but that's to be expected. You want it to be snug on your cheeks. You don't want any gap in the helmet. Otherwise, when you go down, you're going to turn your noggin into a ricochet. It's just going to bobble around in there. And yeah, there's padding, but you really want to arrest the motion. That's what padding and a helmet that fits you is going to do. Alright. Some IT problems fixed. Not all of them. By the time I get called in, shit's usually gone so bad that it's almost unrecoverable. But good news, Mrs. Shinyside is now a licensed motorcycle rider. She passed her basic rider course. Said she had a little trouble with a U-turn, but overall did pretty well. I think we're going to have a lot more practice. Never ever stop learning, right? So there's always something you can improve on. There's always something you can think through a little more carefully. But I'm really proud of her. Tomorrow she'll go get the proper Class 7 endorsement, which is kind of a shame actually. She passed the course and doesn't have her temps. Instead of going for the temps and registered for the rider course. So she's not actually able to ride today. I guess looking on the bright side, the weather has been kind of shit. It's all of like 70 right now. It's not very warm at all. Good God, how fast do you have to go around that corner to make it feel like a curve? Oh! Apparently a lot faster than that, which is exactly 55 miles an hour. We never speed. Sometimes we get up to speed quickly, but we never exceed the speed limit. Oh, I love this bike. It is a tad big for me. I just had to do like I guess if you counted me pulling in as part of a three-point turn. But, kind of one of those back up, point your nose the other direction things. And this bike is tall. It's, alright, so it's not a monster bike. It's not like a friggin' 35-inch seat height. But it's too tall for me. And I say too tall in the sense that I can't flat-foot it. Conventional wisdom says you shouldn't ride a bike, you can't flat-foot, blah, blah, blah. Well, I'm 5'5", so that's not the coolest thing. I don't want to be stuck with just a cruiser. I'd like a cruiser, but I also like something sporty and something toury, and I'd like to go off-road, and it's tough to do a bike you can flat-foot in any of those categories except cruisers. So I would say get comfortable with the weight of your bike, get comfortable with how it's going to maneuver, especially low. It's also fun to do this, but, be confident, work through it. I've tipped this over. It does pick back up, and it's not a lot worse for the wear. This is kind of an extreme example, and I didn't really go out shopping for this bike, but it came up on a deal, and I couldn't say no, and I'm really glad I didn't say no. But it took a bit of adjustment, let's say, to get comfortable maneuvering this, especially, walking it. Because I can 1 foot flat or I can 2-toe. And it really is a lot of bike to do on your toes. And Mrs. Shinyside, she is not height afflicted as I am. And she can flat foot this, but she doesn't have the same strength. And it's a heavy bike. So, kind of a trade-off with all of it. I don't think this is probably not the perfect bike for either of us. But it's a damn good bike. And it's manageable. I don't know that I would want Mrs. Shinyside jumping on this and taking off, but she's actually really keen to ride it, so we might let her have a go at it. Kind of work through the basic exercises and bring her up to speed on it. Show me you can back it up. Show me you can stop and turn at the same time, like stop while turning. That's a really good one. the weight on this is deceptive. It's far forward and low, but it comes in lumps. Like it's not there and then, whoa, where'd that go? 300 pounds of additional weight just suddenly landed on the front tire. It's exactly how it feels too. But confidence stops, knowing where the weight is, knowing, you know, how to react if the weight shifts. You should be paying attention to that all the time anyway. And it's not a problem. So I'm usually on the rear brake at a stop anyway, even on a bike where I can flat foot. So it's not much of a change. The exception would be a compound angle, like a right turn on a road that slopes to the right. You've got to have your right foot down then, right? So it's just a matter of switching to the other control. It's not a huge deal. You make your downshifts before you come to a stop, which you should be doing anyway. As you're slowing down, make sure you're in the right gear to take off again. And why is that? Because if the guy behind me decided he wanted to plow into me, and I'm paying attention, I can quickly zap away. If there's a dump truck that comes barreling through traffic as you're pulling up to a stop, maybe you've got a clear shot ahead of you. Yes, run the red light. If it's a safety thing, it's not even a question. You do what keeps you safest, even if that means breaking traffic laws. Yes, really. Hey! Got another guy with a camera on. Is it a contour? You guys won't be able to see, but I might be able to. Nope, GoPro style. Squid style. I mean, 8th throttle. It's just, oh, fuck, I love this thing. I really do. Ah! I just glanced back at how far back the traffic is. I'm not even trying. Like this, oh, fucking hell, I missed this. Get a big bike and ride it, even if you're a short person. And I was going to say dude there, but no, come on. Ladies too. So I'm like obsessive in some ways. Not compulsive, just obsessive. In digging up, you know, adjustments you could make to the seat height on this when I was still getting comfortable with it. There is like an iron butt BMW rider. She's an adorable little lady who's all of like 5'4", who rides this unmodified and at the stock height, the stock suspension. You know, there are some things you can do to lower it. You can drop about $1,500 on suspension that'll drop 1.5 inches out of it. Even that would not be enough to let me comfortably flat foot though, so it's really not, you know, it would put the weight a bit lower, blah, 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 but it's definitely not worth that kind of money to me. But, you know, this woman had handled it for like 50,000 miles. And you don't ride the same path every time 50,000 miles. That's through a ton of different scenarios, different weather conditions, different, you know, probably gravel and slopes. And, of course, I do the kind of high center. I've got myself in a few situations where you put the front tire past a dip and you put your feet right over the dip, and I go, oh, the ground's a bit lower there. That can hold true on something you could flat foot, but really, it's not a matter of being in the right build even. It's a matter of paying attention, knowing the situations, and just handling it well. And that comes with practice. So constantly learning, constantly practicing. I think that brought this kind of full circle, this stream of consciousness kind of mess. So with that, guys, until next time, keep the rattle, clatter, thunder, clatter, boom, boom, boom truck on your left side. Keep it shiny side up.